Are you calling me short? Okay, I turned off the microphone. And forgive me, I'm not going to...
We can hear. We can hear.
I'm not going to stay too long because I love you all, but I got an 8-year-old and a 9-year-old back in Dallas, and I'm going to tuck them into bed by 9 o'clock. Where do we go from here, Ray? We gotta hang on. We gotta work. We gotta fight. Listen, good things aren't going to happen in the next year. We've got to hold on for the next election. The president, I didn't put this in my comments. It was clear to me the president wanted this Joint Select Committee to fail. It was clear from day one, and he achieved his mission. You know, if I was responsible for the worst economy since the Great Depression, I'd try to find a scapegoat too. So he's trying to take a page out of Harry Truman's playbook, hoping that people forget their Civics 101 and forget there's another body on the other side of the Capitol called the United States Senate, dominated by Harry Reid and the Democrats. But it is clear that he has gone from commander-in-chief to campaigner-in-chief.
Absolutely.
And, you know, it's interesting. I understand many times you were disappointed in what the Republican House achieves. Many times I am disappointed. But we are simultaneously a majority in the House, and we are a minority of the law-making apparatus in our country. And whatever else you believe about liberals, they are not fools. They wrote the Wall Street bailout bill. They wrote Obamacare. They wrote the stimulus in ways that almost defy congressional oversight and congressional appropriation. Again, these are not fools. And what I would hope and pray, again, you know, it almost becomes cliche, this is the most important election in your lifetime. Thank you. I wasn't on the face of the planet when FDR was around. I was a small child when LBJ was around. But if there has been a more liberal inhabitant of the White House, I know not his name. And at a time where America is morphing into Greece before our very eyes, when the president has us on the road to bankruptcy and pressing on the accelerator, time is growing short. So again, like the patriots of old, it is time for us to be willing to put our lives and fortunes in sacred honor on the table to do whatever is necessary to ensure that that man is a one-term president. Okay, I'll take one or two more, and then I'm going to go home and see my children.
The Connie Mack Penny plan to end baseline budgeting and go back to zero-based budgeting. What are your feelings about that?
Well, one, Connie's a good member of Congress. He's running for the Senate now, I think you know. Baseline budgeting has got to be terminated. It automatically inflates the cost of every government program. I've been fighting it the 9 years that I have been in the House. You know, if you employed baseline budgeting in your business, you would either go broke or go to jail. And yet the federal government does it every single day. I haven't studied it carefully, forgive me, since mid-August. This Joint Select Committee has frankly taken about 95% of my time. So I know his plan's out there. I hadn't looked at it that closely. I will, though. I mean, Connie's a good member of Congress.
Thank you.
And for the uninitiated, Connie's a guy, just in case you're Yes, ma'am.
The bill H.R. 4646, the 1% charge on every bank transaction, is that going to be, has that passed, or is it part of the health care plan? Are you familiar with that?
Somewhat. I don't believe it has. I don't memorize bills by their bill numbers.
It's where 1% is charged on your transactions. Every transaction on
about to stump the band here. Boy, I was doing so well after that speech. I'm not doing so well on the Q&A here. No, listen, there are so many different taxes in Dodd-Frank and so many different taxes in Obamacare. I can't quite keep track of them all. But immediately a 1% bank transaction tax is not, no, it doesn't exist to the best of my knowledge. Let me try to end on a little higher note than that, or at least a more knowledgeable note. Going once, twice, yes, sir.
There appears to be a couple of bills traveling through Congress that would authorize the president to have arrested anyone that is labeled a threat. I think it's principally aimed at terrorists, but it would be very easy. As a matter of fact, all of us people in the Tea Party have been labeled terrorists at one time or another. So that appears to be a catch-all vehicle to round up all opposition.
I'm unfamiliar with the bill, but I can assure you as long as that man's president, I'm not going to pass it. Last one.
Yes, sir. It seems like to me that Washington imposes laws upon us, but exempts themselves. Social Security, they have their own medical insurance. And if Martha Stewart were in Congress, she wouldn't have gone to jail. When is Congress going to live by the laws they impose upon the people?
Well, first, I pay Social Security. And I don't know, it's one of these internet myths. I'd be happy to show you my pay stub. So number one, I pay Social Security. We're part of the Federal Employee Health Benefit Plan, which my guess is probably far more generous than what you enjoy, which is why I'm sponsoring legislation to make sure you get the same health care benefits that members of Congress do. The short answer is, yeah, we ought to live under the laws that we pass. I mean, it's a small thing, but it's one of the reasons that I work in Washington and I live in Texas. I don't want to get isolated. I don't want to get Potomac fever, and I managed to avoid it since being there. And so, you know, things like your pay, God, I got to tell you, of all the votes, I've never voted for a pay increase since I've been a member of Congress. I don't intend to. But of all the votes that disturb me, now people shouldn't be allowed to vote on their own pay. There ought to be a better system. I don't know what it is. Again, every time one of those COLAs has come up, I've voted it down, and I personally make it a habit to make sure that whatever Uncle Sam gives me to run the 5th Congressional Office of Texas, I give a minimum of 10% back each year, and you can check the official records. Because I think you got to lead by example. So, you know, anything we can do to make sure that we live under the laws that everybody else does is exactly what I want to do. Anyway, if you will forgive me, it's a somewhat rainy night, and I want to go tuck my children into bed in Dallas, Texas. But thank you for honoring me by allowing me to speak to you, and thank you for what you do to say what President Reagan called the last best hope of man on earth, and that is this glorious republic we call America. Thank you.